Hello, everybody, from Jersey Mike's Arena. Brian Fonseca, the Rutgers rant, here after Rutgers lost to Purdue, number one Purdue, 81-65 in their Big Ten opener. Please let me know how my audio sounds. I got a new laptop, which means no idea how the equipment works. The mic should be fine, but if you have issues with audio, let me know in the chat, and I will change it out. Sorry that I always mention the audio, but I always just want to make sure you guys can actually hear me, because otherwise we're all wasting our time. Thank you, RU Hoops Project, for saying I sound perfect. I hope the content of my of our live here is as good as the sound quality then. So we'll start first here, interestingly, from Dr. Josh Fink, who says his son won a TV at a game. I have always wondered what happens afterwards. So you're in all the lives, which we greatly appreciate. Next time we talk, whether that's Saturday after Michigan or another game, you have to let me know what happens. Like, I know the box is empty, or I'm pretty sure the box is empty. Let us know what happens from getting the box at the game to getting the TV at your house or his dorm or whatever. I am fascinated. And I will get more into your point about the actual game later on, but I saw your note and I wanted to start off with that. Anyway, on to the game. I mean, Rutgers, if we were being realistic here, this was never going to be another one of those, miracle games like the 21 game that effectively got them into the NCAA tournament. Rutgers was always going to be outmatched against the team that is essentially the dream for Rutgers, in the sense of having three veteran guys leading the team in Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Renn, and Fletcher Lawyer, guys in there forever. Those guys lost to FDU in the NCAA tournament. Like, that's how long ago they've been here. That feels like it was 100 years ago. And Braden Smith was, he's the class of the league. He's maybe the best player in the country. He is so freaking good. And he played Rutgers defense like, he toyed with them. He played them like a string. Like, he did whatever he wanted. He made some incredible passes, hit some really tough shots, fadeaway threes. The line here is he scored 16 points on 5 of 11, 4 of 8 on threes, 2 of 2 on free throws, 8 assists, 3 turnovers. Harder to the guy's great. It's hard to beat a team like that. The number one team in the country for a reason, number 2 on KenPom, highly efficient offensively. And a big part of their offensive efficiency today was not only shooting 10 of 26 on threes, which is a little under, it's at 38.5%. They got 11 offensive rebounds on 31 missed shots, which is just around 33%, 36%. And they scored 13 second chance points. When you're Rutgers, you can't give up 13 second chance points to a team like this to have any hope. And Steve Pikiell, of all things, really harped on the rebounding in the postgame. It's something that is clearly frustrating him. He made a point of saying that's a big part of why the defense is struggling so much. Matt Painter said that they got a lot of offensive rebounds that were the type that break the will of a defense, and I generally agree. It's hard to play really good defense against this team on one possession, let alone when they get the ball back and oftentimes score. So that was a big part here. Rutgers just got crushed on the boards, and they didn't really get many offensive boards themselves, 6 offensive boards and 5 second chance points. Couldn't really make it up in that department. They struggled from at the rim. They hit 5 of their last 6 layups, but they missed their first 6. And they came at a time where the game was kind of still, they're still competitive. Dylan Grant missed a couple of chances at the rim. 1 layup point blank missed. 1 got blocked in a position where if he had caught it correctly and gone straight up, probably could have scored. And then they missed an easy alley-oop to Emmanuel Bole. Just silly mistakes that you can't make if you want to beat a team like Purdue. Rutgers did, end up making it a respectable final score, only lost by 16. They were down by 25 in the second half. And outside of, 2 or 3 stretches where they were competitive, 10-0 run in the first half, a little bit towards the end of the game, where Purdue still had its starters in, but I don't want to say they called off the dogs because the starters were in there, but the game was pretty comfortably in hand. Other than that, Purdue when Purdue was good, they were really good. Out of the gate in the second half to control the game. The early-ish part of the first half when they pulled away a little bit. This is not a game that will define, where Rutgers stands. I think very clearly they were at a huge talent disadvantage, and this was going to be a game where it would be a success for what happened, where you didn't get your doors blown off the way you did against Tennessee, the way you did in the first half against Notre Dame. This was kind of just like a slow bleed, Purdue is better, so naturally they're going to build a big advantage. And I mean, Rutgers really wasn't really able to do much to counteract that. They shot 8 of 17 on threes, which is pretty good. Harun Zerno went on threes. He went 3 of 5, 5 of 8 overall from the floor. He had a good second half. And you need more of that if you want to beat Purdue. They only shot 17 threes on 56 shots. It just feels like they don't shoot enough threes. And as we've said ad nauseum, the offense doesn't really create that many great shots. There were some. The first play of the game was a set that worked. They had a screen set that opened up a 3-point shot, which they made. And there were a couple of cuts to the basket that worked. But again, too many mid-range shots, too many isolation possessions, just not enough offensive possessions where you put any sort of pressure on Purdue's defense. And I mean, some of them went in naturally, but just too many tough shots forced to really give yourself a chance. Again, I would have liked to seen 17 of your shots are threes on a night where you take 56 shots. And of those 39 twos, only 17 are at the rim. I mean, let's do the math here actually. While I'm saying this, I don't want to just throw out numbers. So they took 56 shots. 17 were threes. 15 were at the rim. So 17 and 15 is 32. That means 24 of Rutgers shots today were not at the rim or at three. That's not the formula to beat most teams, let alone one of the 5 teams in the country. But again, shot selection is, it's a symptom of the problem, right? Better shot selection gives you a better chance, but the reality is that the experience and talent gap between these two teams was so large that there really was never going to be much of a chance for Rutgers. Before I go into player grades, I'll go back to Josh Fink's question or comment. Impressed with Harun's performance today. Took good shots and didn't hesitate as much as he has been. Need more kick-out plays for him to spot up. Yeah, he had, again, 3 of 5 on threes, and a couple of those were him spotting up in a corner, catching a clean shot, clean pass, and throwing it up and it going in. There was one play that comes to mind where Lino is dribbling to the right side and throws a beautiful dime, cross his body, cross court to the corner for Harun, and he knocks it down. But that's a good play. It's a good pass. It's a good shot, and it worked out. Harun, much like Dylan Grant, who we'll also talk about, most of their production came in the second half when their team is down 20 points and the game is essentially over. If you break it down to the second half, they had a combined 26 points between them. 24 of their points came in the second half. And at a point in the second half where the game is already over. Rutgers would have liked to have those early on to kind of keep things competitive early on. And I guess while we bring up Dylan Grant, he was on the bench for 7 minutes in the second half for a long stretch. Steve Peichel, I asked him about that. And while he was trending towards going a little guarded, as usually is on these questions, he said that Dylan has to rebound. He wants more out of Dylan Grant. Rebounding wise, Dylan Grant finished with 2 rebounds. 2 rebounds in 24 minutes. And Steve Peichel clearly was not happy with that. And I think he was more upset about the lack of rebounding than he was about Dylan Grant missing a point-blank layup and not being aggressive enough offensively. I think Steve Peichel can live with that. What you think of that is irrelevant here. I do think it is pretty indisputable that he can live with a guy missing a point-blank layup, but it infuriates him to no end that he was not rebounding hard enough. Again, Steve Peichel harped on that a lot, and I think he's very frustrated with this group in not being able to do that. The numbers right now, Rutgers, rebounding-wise, Rutgers allows opponents to rebound 32.2% of their misses. So out of every 3 missed shots, opponents are rebounding 1. That's 219th nationally. And Rutgers is decent offensive rebounding-wise, 34.2%. But again, today, only 6 rebounds. A lot of their offensive rebounding came against low major teams. That number should be a little lower as the schedule heats up. Other Ken Palm numbers to be aware of. Rutgers' 3-point defense, they're allowing opponents to shoot 36.4% on threes. That is 278th nationally. Again, today they allowed Purdue to shoot 10 of 26, which is right around 38.5%. 3-point defense is, some of it is luck, right? Sometimes guys hit open shots, miss open shots. Sometimes guys hit contested shots. It's luck to a certain degree, but when it's happening over a 9-game span, and when a lot of these shots are open and guys are hitting them, it's going to be a major issue this season. Rutgers, on the other side, is shooting 35.5% on threes, which is, again, on track to be its best under Steve Peichel. Now, the big difference here is that Rutgers only takes 34.3% of its shots on threes and allows opponents to take 38.3% of their shots on threes. That's a 4% difference. And even if the shooting percentages are roughly in the same ballpark, that huge discrepancy is how teams are able to blow Rutgers out. And the last KenPom stat I want to bring up, Rutgers is 46.1% on twos this season shooting. That's 308th nationally. A lot of that is because, again, they don't take optimal shots on twos. A lot of their twos are mid-range jumpers, and obviously that is going to trend towards your 2-point numbers being not great. Most important, Philly fan asks, most important question, did we keep the sellout streak alive? I have not checked. In the notes, this game had an attendance of 8,000. This is the 84th sellout, consecutive sellout at Jersey Mike's Arena. I think it's going to take something significant for them to end that streak. I think they're going to keep riding it as long as possible. The value of it is disputable. I think it's a bit silly, honestly. Obviously, as I've kind of expressed before, I'm not quite sure what the benefit is, but it doesn't seem like it's something that they want to end. I will say, though, I mean, the crowd was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't packed, but the student section was packed. The stands were more full, certainly, than Central Connecticut State and other low major games. About 1,000 of the fans were from Purdue. Really loud when Purdue was playing well in the first half, and then it got really loud late in the game when, a vast majority of Rutgers fans left the game with 4 minutes left and the game was over. 1,000 Purdue fans stuck around till the end, and they were chanting and were pretty loud in the final buzzer. Like, I have a video. It's about 4 seconds before Rutgers turned on the music. The band started playing, but they were pretty loud. The sellout streak is probably going to live for the rest of the season because outside of the Penn or Delaware State games, which could have attendance so bad that you can't really claim that. But I think if they get past that, I don't see it ending this year. Mark Greenberg asks, why is our rebounding so bad? The center position is not good. That's part of it. The forwards are not the most physical players in the country. Certainly not outside of Darren Buchanan, but Darren Buchanan is not big. Rutgers doesn't really have much size. I think that's a major issue. It's the effort and all that stuff is all unquantifiable. Clearly, Steve Peichel doesn't think that there is enough effort. So that could be part of it. I don't know. I think you're also going against Purdue, which has really, really good rebounders in Trey Kaufman-Renn and Oscar Clough. You went against really good rebounders at Notre Dame, same at Tennessee. I don't know if there's a one concrete answer, but I think part of it is just physical makeup. The other part is effort, and they're not making up for deficiencies in either side with the other. So it all kind of compounds. 40-inch 4K Fire TV in the box. Wow, it came in the box. I literally thought that the box was empty and you have to pick it up somewhere. That's probably really heavy, considering that he goes on to say, my son is 9, so he will be able to watch Obole try to dribble through 3 defenders and miss layups during the games. That's funny. That's cool. I did not know that the box, the TV came in the box. That's probably a hard hole in your car. I'm not sure if that's exactly optimal, but I don't think anyone should complain when they get a free TV either. So congratulations to you guys. Congratulations to everyone else on this broadcast. If you're listening that you got a free TV from Rutgers before as well, happy for you all. Matt Z says, Obole throwing up prayers out there tonight. He will not be able to play against big physical Big Ten centers. Yes, but we knew that. Like, this is not a surprise. Obole can win matchups. He's shown against smaller centers. He did that against not Central Connecticut State, against Lehigh and against UNLV. It's going to be a challenge for him against Big Ten centers. He is not in great shape. I've noticed in 2 games now, Tennessee and today, that by the 3-minute mark, first half, immediately after the game, he is huffing and puffing and grabbing his shorts. He's just not. And look, it's hard to battle with those guys inside. It is certainly taxing. And Oscar Clough himself was similarly in rough shape at that point in the game, but I just don't feel like there's enough there from Obole. He's certainly not rebounding well enough against these physical guys. And let's be honest here, like, his offensive skill set is bad. It's so bad that you can't throw the ball inside to him. He is unable to score around the rim unless he is wide open and dunking the ball. He just is not able to consistently score. I mean, we thought Cliff O'Morey was bad, but I mean, it's a lost cause. which is a big issue. Again, it's not like he's the only one. Byfall can't either. He played for the first time since Central Connecticut State today. Bryce Dortch has a little bit of it. He can finish a little bit around the rim, make some smart cuts. He's probably their best offensive option at center, but that's a major hole in Rutgers, artillery, is that they just don't have a guy who you can dump the ball to inside. Purdue's obviously on the other end. You throw the ball to Trey Kaufman-Wren and he's in the paint. He's going to score or get to the foul line, similar to Oscar Clough. So that's not something that you can just fix in a practice session or two. It's just what it is. So Rutgers is going to have to work around it somehow. Power seems to have really solid instincts. Honestly, I thought he took some bad shots. I thought he forced it a little bit. I thought that his shot selection, which again, he's a freshman, I'm not expecting him to make great decisions, frankly, but his offensive possessions were essentially I'm forgetting the word. I'm very bad at coming up with words on the spot. It's like the consolidation of what this offense is, where it's just one-on-one, dribbling to the paint and throwing up a mid-range jumper. It's taking a bit of a contested three. I didn't like much from. He did score. He went 2 of 6, but of those 6 shots, how many were good? I don't know, frankly. I hope Steve plays Powers more. Good instincts, great technique and size, just his experience. I think all the freshmen need experience, and clearly he's trying to work through that. And he played 4 of them on the floor at the same time in the second half. And I think that's just part of what this season is getting those guys experience, getting them better. This is the first time they all play Purdue. That's quite an experience. Matt Painter had a good monologue about the value of having guys come back and learning and growing and staying in the same program, which was probably music to Steve Pikiell's ears. There was an RNIL TIFO in the student section early in the game. I think clearly that's the backdrop here. That is Rutgers going to be able to raise the money it needs to be able to retain these guys. That is the goal here for Rutgers, but that's going to be the payoff if you're able to keep these guys from playing them throughout this season. That's going to be it. But we'll see. We'll see how they develop around the year. I think of all the freshmen, Powers probably has the least that I've liked so far. I'll be honest. Maybe today is a step in the right direction, but I think he probably has the longest way to go. Chris Newell probably has the highest upside. Still a little too chaotic for my liking. Fouling a bit too much. Had 4 fouls today in 17 minutes. Still taking tough shots mid-range. I like his physical makeup. I like his defensive desire. I like a lot of things. Just again, feels like there's a lot to mold there. But again, that's true of all the freshmen. And the other issue is the inconsistency that Steve Pikiell talks about. You have Hernan Zurno having a great game today, had some rough games before. You've had Donis Badalau have a good game and about 4 bad games in a row now. You've had Newell have some good appearances against UNLV, a bit chaotic. Just Tariq Francis had a couple of good games, was practically invisible today, 20 minutes, 2 of 5 shooting, 5 points, 3 rebounds. I can't remember a single thing he did on the floor today, to be quite honest. So, and JaMychal Davis was good. JaMychal Davis offensively has been very efficient this year. 3 of 4 from the floor, 1 of 2 on threes, 9 points. He is now shooting on threes. Where is it? JaMychal Davis is shooting 52.4% on threes, 11 of 21. It's a 9-game sample size, which is not significant, but it's not nothing, right? So if you could have your starting point guard making 52.4% of his threes, that's pretty good. And Dylan Grant is 9 of 21, 42.9%. Feel like he's not aggressive enough in getting taking 3-point shots. And Zerno's 37.9%. So Rutgers has 3-point shooters. It just feels like they're not taking enough of them. I've been going on a bit long, 20 minutes. I don't think the player grades is worth much of a thing tonight, just because I think they were so overmatched that the curve would be so radical. It's hard to really gauge. I thought, again, Zerno had a great second half. Dylan Grant had a good second half, not a great first half. Other than that, I don't think anyone played particularly well aside from those two for stretches. JaMychal Davis had a nice couple stretches, but I don't think anybody played particularly poorly, like an F, but I don't think anyone played particularly well. I think this game was just kind of the 40 minutes of what you'd expect. Purdue being better, Rutgers not being so good. One last comment. Steve should beg Schiano to borrow Kenny Fletcher in alignment of the remaining season to play center. Rashad Kent 2.0. Funny you mentioned that. In the press box, there was conversation that Emmanuel Bole should consider playing like defensive tackle or defensive end. So maybe they can do a trade. Send Mayo Bully could be like a third down pass rusher, like Kamoko Toure with a little bit more height, but similar length and like body shape. And yeah, you bring in Kenny Fletcher's probably too small to play center. I'm trying to think. There's no Holland Pierce. He would make a great Rashad Kent comparison. Logan Blake, maybe. I think he played a little basketball in high school. I'm trying. Victor Kanapka, he retired from football. Maybe you bring him in. He almost went to Army to play basketball. So, fun question. I know it's late. It's 11. I didn't realize it was 11 o'clock. Thank you guys for being here at 11 o'clock. Unless you guys have another comment, I'll go really quickly to the Discord. It doesn't look like there's much action there. It feels like everyone kind of decided to go home for the night or go to bed for the night. One last thing, William Tate, he was at the game, as was Kelly Zinn. They were sitting courtside with Gary Rodkin, and William Tate was put on the big board. I tweeted out that he is the best tweeter in the Rutgers universe. Someone tweeted at me asking if he was Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, obviously, and he replied, "Los Pollos Hermanos coming." So he knows ball. He knows great TV. He's a great tweeter. I mean, I can't vouch for how good he is as a president. I think I don't have nearly enough information on that. I don't know the ins and outs of that position, and it's out of my comfort zone, I guess. But I know the guy is good at Twitter, and he's good at sports, and he's good at TV, which are all three things that I really like. So if I'm going to give out grades, an A+ to William Tate. Certainly the most entertaining president Rutgers has had, certainly the most involved athletically that Rutgers has had, and Rutgers will hope that will pay dividends down the line on the basketball court and on the football field. In the meantime, again, thanks guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. We'll be back Saturday for the Michigan game, which Rutgers, again, will if they could sign up in blood right now for a 16-point loss to Michigan and roughly as respectable as today, I think they would. I think if you come out of Ann Arbor with a 15-point loss, it's a win in Rutgers' book, and then you can kind of take a week to prepare for a pretty big game against Seton Hall, because maybe you don't win that game, but it's similar. Like, you got to be competitive there because Seton Hall was in the same position Rutgers is in now. So if you want a beacon of hope for what Rutgers could be if they could recover from this, look at Seton Hall. Seton Hall won 7 games, their worst season in program history last year, and now they moved to the semifinals of Maui, looked really good there. And I'm looking at them as one of the more dangerous teams on Rutgers' schedule. So if you want a beacon of hope, look up to South Orange. Otherwise, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Dr. Josh Fink, who says that me, Steve, and Laney are awesome. Laney's off doing something more important than covering Rutgers. He's covering other big picture sports stuff. And he's not dealing with the torture of sometimes what covering Rutgers is, at least these days. But anyway, thanks guys for tuning in. Thanks for participating, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a good night.